Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So Cryonaia has just been released on the global server as of the recording of this video, and in this video we're going to showcase some of the pioneer server testing stuff for Cryonaia to talk about the game modes where Cryonaia is good in or are good in, and also talk about her weaknesses or her shortcoming with regards to this unit itself. So before we start, I'll be doing my own pool session for Cryonaia tomorrow, so stay tuned for my pool session on the channel where I'll get her to Supreme Plus and then conduct some of my own testing with my own global server account, and then giving my own in-depth analysis of this unit with regards to a proper account setup. So with regards to Cryonaia right here, we have her at the Paragon 4 tier with EX weapon 15, so we will base that on the discussion today. So with regards to the Dream Realm side, Cryonaia does see some meta users in bosses like Snow Stomper as well as Talessa, and also the likes of Plague Creeper and also Chris Shell Brute so far. So with regards to her Dream Realm usage, I think she's definitely usable because she can deliver quite a massive damage output, which would actually match her with the likes of units like Odie as well as Lilime in the current meta. However, one thing about Talessa's Dream Realm performance, if you guys might have realized by now, is that Talessa usually goes with either the twins or Odie or Harak in the Dream Realm side, at least on the top meta teams. So that's for good reasons, because for Cryonaia's ability, even though she's able to freeze time, which gives your damage over time from OD more time to build up, and also gives you more damage output from Cryonaia herself, whenever Cryonaia casts the ultimate, she will only be the only unit active in the ultimate itself. And this reduces your team efficiency, because even though she's able to freeze the battle time for up to 30 seconds, but subsequently after she freezes the battle time for up to 30 seconds, when she uses the ultimate, the battle time will still flow, and then when she uses her ultimate, you lose efficiency on your other units itself. So therefore, in terms of the meta teams for Cryonaia, even though she's a pretty decent character here, being able to get you additional time, you really need other units like twins as well as the likes of Harak to eat her up, so that her ultimate doesn't become a detriment to your team. Because the ultimate is a strength, being able to freeze time, but subsequently after the time freeze duration is over, every single time she casts the ultimate, you're losing a lot of efficiency on all your other units itself. So this is one thing for Cryonaia, and that's why if you take a look at all these top teams over here, usually these teams will have both Harak as well as twins built into it together with Cryonaia. So in this case, if you were to evaluate Cryonaia as a Dream Realm character, I think she's pretty strong, provided you have other units to support her. And I think the other units would include the likes of twins for the most powerful support role, and also the likes of Harak being one of the strongest endgame damage dealer for the Dream Realm side, as well as being the only unit that can eat away Cryonaia to prevent her from using her ultimate to reduce the efficiency of your team. So that's for the Dream Realm side. I think she's pretty okay, but then she will require you to have every other unit for you to achieve your top damage numbers. So these are all the different replays. So for Lone Gate side, we don't have any shared formation because the boss is not unlocked yet, but so far out of the 8 bosses, I think at least 3 or 4 bosses will have Cryonaia's side in terms of the team building if you have all the units for top damage. Okay, so for the AFK stage pushing side, if you were to take a look at some of the top tier AFK stage records right here, we have your Iron Armors at 701 to 709 range, and then we also have the likes of a Cryonaia team by Starlord over here nearing the 720 plus level range. So what this means for Cryonaia is that I think she's definitely a usable character for the AFK stage pushing side, but I think the biggest issue with Cryonaia would be the survival part, because Cryonaia as a carry or as a hyper carry doesn't have that much of a defensive skill, and yes, she might be able to get a massive shield which she's able to use to protect herself during the ultimate, but outside of the ultimate, when she exits that state, as the enemies are hitting onto her, she might actually die really easily, and that's where she won't be able to unleash her full combos to finish off the enemy. So that's the problem with Cryonaia in terms of the AFK stage pushing side, but because she has an insta kill ability, she has the time freeze ability, as well as decent AoE, I think you can definitely try to form a few AFK stage pushing team around her for you to use her to push through the higher deficit stages as well. So that's with regards to the AFK stage side, as you guys can see right here. So one thing about Cryonaia would be also implementing her with units which can deal lingering damage like Bonnie or Satrana, so that you are able to still do damage to the enemies, even though when she casts the ultimate, 4 of your other allies are pretty much disabled in the background. So that's one of the bigger drawbacks for Cryonaia based on the testing so far. So she's quite a good unit to be a single hypo carry, but at the same time, if you are using her beyond the initial 30-second time freeze, she's basically a liability because time will still flow when she casts the ultimate, but the other 4 units in the team won't be able to do much to contribute to the team's damage output. And last but not least, let's talk about PvP. So PvP is the game mode where I think Cryonaia is game changing. Like, this unit, I think it's insane because the moment she gets her ultimate off, if you can't survive the initial barrage, she will be able to charge up her energy, and that's where she will gain a lot of energy after she kills you and then cast her second ultimate. So within the time span of that 30-second time freeze, in most cases, Cryonaia would have brought down your whole team because she's able to do a lot of damage during her ultimate, and when she kills your unit, she gets even more energy to go into her next ultimate. So if you do decide to build your team with a whole bunch of energy regen as well as haste up with Cryonaia, she might be able to spam her ultimate continuously and lock your enemy in place and then finish the fight from there. So right here, we're going to showcase a few teams that we tried with Cryonaia, as well as a whole bunch of testing that we did against Cryonaia in the arena side of things. So this is with the Bonnie and Satrana combo. So Bonnie and Satrana basically withers the enemy's team down by a lot over here, and when Cryonaia goes into the ultimate, we just finish off all the enemies right here with her massive damage output and win the fight from there, right? Another way that I've seen Cryonaia work is putting her with the likes of Rowan as well as Hugin right here, as they provide for a great deal of survivability for Cryonaia and allow her to spam the ultimate, because the shielding as well as the potion of Rowan allows the Cryonaia to survive really well, and once the opposing Cryonaia gets their ultimate off, it's pretty much game over for your side. And that's how game-changing Cryonaia is in the PvP side, because within that ultimate with her shield active, she's also able to insta-kill the enemy. So there's not a lot of units that can sort of survive that very first ultimate barrage. And even if she's able to survive the very first one right here, as you guys can see, she can go into the second one. And that's why I say she's quite game-changing, because like, it is just insane that she's able to generate energy when she's casting her first ultimate. So this allows her to use the first ultimate, get so much energy, and then once that first ultimate goes down, goes into the second ultimate and then dominate the arena side of things. So that's pretty crazy, and that's why I say she's pretty game changing on the PvP perspective. So that's pretty much it for Cryonaia's initial impression on the Pioneer side. So far I think she has a lot of room for discovery in terms of the combos as well as the teams that you can put her in to let her excel in carrying your team. And in terms of her current performance so far, I think generally speaking, I'll still put her in the more will category unit, because even though she does see some use in the Dream Realm side, it is built on top of you having other good units like Hara as well as Twins as well as Feresto. So I don't think she would be a top priority, at least not for the Dream Realm side, before you have all the other good Celestial Hypergene characters. And from a PvP perspective, it is a more will perspective game mode. So let's say if you have the resources, then you can definitely go for Cryonaia to dominate in the PvP side of things. If not, I think from somebody who has way lesser resources, somebody who is free to play, Cryonaia would not be a top priority for you to commit into, unless you like your Ice Mummy over here for her design perspective. So if that's the case, just go for your favorite unit instead of all the meta stuff. And thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. I'll see you guys again in my Cryonaia stream tomorrow, where we will pull for her and discuss more about her kit on the global server. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.